But I want vaccines that are as safe as possible. I want science that is robust, and I want to make sure that we have a regulatory agency that has unquestioned integrity and freedom of conflicts of interest, and we don't have those things today. The vaccine ingredient that got me involved in this controversy was thimerosal, which is, of course, the mercury-based preservative that is still in 48 million flu shots annually. And one of the characteristics of mercury is that it tends to injure boys instead of girls or over girls. Science indicates the reason for that is because testosterone tends to amplify the neurotoxic impacts of the mercury molecule, and estrogen tends to wrap that molecule and protect the female brain. Any toxicologist will tell you that if you inject mercury or aluminum into a little baby or a child or a pregnant woman, there's going to be bad consequences, including neurodevelopmental damages. So my question was, how did those neurotoxic elements get into our vaccine supply? What kind of testing was done? The answers to that investigation were shocking to me, and I believe that they will be shocking to any pediatrician, any public health regulator, and any politician who is now considering vaccine mandates. I'm going to start by talking about this study that was published in February of 2017 of this year. One of the leaders of the team is Dr. Peter Aaby, and Dr. Aaby is one of the world's foremost authorities on vaccines, particularly vaccines in Africa. This study was a study of the DTP vaccine, diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis, the most popular vaccine in the world, and a vaccine that's given to virtually every vaccinated child in Africa. Because of a quirk in the way that the vaccines were administered in the nation of Guinea-Bissau, it allowed Dr. Aaby and his team to do the kind of study vaccine safety advocates in this country have advocated for many, many years. A vaccinated versus unvaccinated study. And what they found was that the vaccinated children had 10 times the death rate of unvaccinated children. But the things that the vaccinated children were dying of or things that you would never associate with vaccines. And what the scientists concluded was that the vaccine, while it was protecting children from diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis, had wrecked their immune system so that they were dying of these unrelated illnesses. And here's what they concluded. All currently available evidence suggests that the DTP vaccine may kill more children from other causes than it saves from diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis. And this is rather shocking. The interesting thing and the frightening thing about this study is that this was data that was 30 years old. Nobody noticed that this vaccine had been killing 10 times the amount of kids. And the relevant question for us, this study begs, is there a surveillance system in this country that would send off an alarm if the same thing was happening here from our current vaccine program? Or is there a safety testing program that would assure that this can't happen? And the answer I'm about to show you is no. I'm going to start with this slide, and this slide shows a short list of vaccine adverse events. In other words, these are injuries that are acknowledged by the government and by the manufacturer to be caused by vaccines. How do we know that? Well, this first list above the blue line are injuries that have been compensated by the vaccine court. So the courts have said, yes, your injury was caused by the vaccine, and we are going to pay you money for that. And these include autoimmune diseases, encephalopathy, that is brain damage, seizure disorder, death. Below the line is another list that really overlaps with the top list. And these are the injuries that the manufacturer is saying these could be caused by our vaccine, and they include autoimmune diseases, asthma, eczema, juvenile diabetes. Now look at this. According to the CDC, 1 in 6 children now has a developmental disorder. They're the same injuries we know are caused by vaccines. This is an epidemic. And according to HHS, it gets worse. 54% of children have some kind of chronic illness. in 1986, Congress passed the Vaccine Act and gave blanket immunity to vaccine companies for injuries caused by vaccines. And some of these new vaccines, they could make up to $1 billion a year in profits or even more. And this is what happened. By 1986, there were 11 vaccines on the schedule, but today there are 53 jabs. And look what happened at the same time. In 1988, only 12.8% of kids had chronic disease. Today, 54%. So the rise was coterminous with the expansion of the vaccine schedule.